Yo, what it do, Jim Shoe? I'm back with another reaction video. Let me reiterate that, another reaction video for the slow people in the back who gonna jump in my comments and ask where the video at. Pay attention, pay attention. Today we got craziest inmates moments caught on camera. We love a good inmate story. We love it. You feel me? So, without saying too much, I ain't trying to be a chat box. Let's get into it. I hope everybody out there having a good day. And for the people that's not having a good day, I hope you have a great day after watching this video. So let's turn up, man. Let's get it.
October 25th, 2016, Illinois. Cook County Jail was thrown into chaos when a fight broke out in Division 9, the highest security area where the most dangerous inmates are kept. A few inmates decided to settle their scores, fueled by grudges and power struggle. The lunchroom, usually a pretty boring place, turned into a battlefield as all hell broke loose. 10 inmates got into a brawl, some even using makeshift weapons. Eventually, 20 of them ended up injured, a few with some stab wounds. And it wasn't just the inmates involved here. 2 corrections officers also got caught up in the chaos. One officer got hit in the face with a food tray, and the other got hurt trying to break up the fight. Luckily, no one died, but the whole crazy scene left everyone shaken.
Everybody in there was BDs, GDs, some foes, some moles. That's Cook County. They get it cracking. That's gangland for real. For real, for real. Nah, I ain't meaning it like Cali, because Cali is where it all started. If you know, you know. But I'm saying, Cook County, that's gangland. Don't get it confused. I'm not saying Cali is not. If you know, you know. I'm just going to put it like that.
August 15th, 2021, downtown St. Louis. A disturbance breaks out at City Justice Center, CJC, resulting in injuries to several detainees. The chaos started around 12:30 a.m. when approximately 24 detainees were enjoying some recreation time on the 4th floor. Suddenly, another dirty dozen come along and start attacking 4 others, beating and kicking them. Officers quickly intervened, removing victims from the area, using pepper spray if they had to. Unfortunately, this is just one of many attacks that have occurred within the facility. This happened only 2 weeks after the previous one, marking a total of 6 at the downtown facility in that year alone. And just last year, several inmates assaulted an unarmed guard and held him hostage for 2 hours, demanding hot food in exchange for his release. Looks like trouble's always going down at the CJC.
That's crazy. All he wanted was some hot food. All my nigga wanted was a meal. He held one of the officers down for 2 hours. Was it an hour or 2 hours? It don't matter. However long it was for a hot meal. All he wanted was a meal. I don't understand why people at the jail are unarmed. I mean, I get why, because obviously that this can happen. They can get beat up and they'll take their weapon. But I feel like the ratio should be different. It should be way more officers than what it is. Man, you putting 1 officer in a pod and stuff like that will happen. Obviously, it was a one-on-one. It was just the inmate and the officer. How you get held hostage? It's a one-on-one. They didn't say 2 inmates had 1 officer. 1 inmate had 1 officer. Hey, bro, if you down there working and you can't fight or you can't hold your own, you need a new profession. Do something else. Do something else. Go work on cars. Go stock the shelves at Walmart or anything. Like, pick a new profession, because that ain't it.
September 23rd, 2017. Chaos erupts at Clayton Facility, a private prison run by the Florida-based GEO Group. Now, what exactly happened that day? Rookie correctional officer Matt Schreiner was doing his rounds on cell block 3's upper tier. He stops at cell 203, where cameras catch him chatting through a locked door with one of the most dangerous inmates in here, Clifton Bloomfield. a notorious convicted serial killer serving multiple life terms after killing 5 people in Albuquerque. The two would exchange a few words, and then in a total disregard for security, Schreiner unlocks Bloomfield's cell door. Next thing you know, Bloomfield attacks Schreiner and overpowers him with a sharpened toothbrush turned homemade weapon. Schreiner's taken hostage but manages to break free. He races down to the main level, grabs his walkie-talkie and sprints for help. But with the keys to the entire 40-man cell block and no guards, the inmates took control. Cell doors were flung open and prisoners went on a brutal rampage. They even barricaded the main entry. Some of them used their own newfound freedom to settle old scores. One inmate suspected of being an informant was brutally assaulted in his cell, with his throat slashed. Other inmates took advantage of the chaos by disabling the prison surveillance cameras, starting a fire, and trashing the cell block. The riot response team steps in, filling the place up with tear gas. Slowly but surely, they round up all the inmates, handcuff them, and escort them to the day room. An inmate attacked in here was found unconscious in a pool of blood. Rescuers quickly pulled him out and called for an ambulance. Miraculously, he survived. In the end, the state had to step in and take over direct operations of that prison once again. I don't think they want this to kind of happen again. It's unfortunate, but riots happen in prisons more often than we'd like to think. March 27th, 2018. Things take a dark turn at Cheatham County Jail in Tennessee. A huge fight breaks out, leaving 5 inmates and 2 officers hurt. This whole chaotic ordeal was caught on camera for everyone to see. The sheriff said the riot started because of a feud between inmates. But there's more to it than that, because the jail, which was built for 116 people, was holding around 192, causing tensions to reach a breaking point.
Ain't no way you got 116 plus people in here and you got 2 officers in the middle trying to break this up. Why? That's not smart at all. Y'all both could die in there. Am I tripping? They ain't got no weapon on them, because obviously they wouldn't be in there if they had weapons. Inmates will take it and do what they want. 2 people and all these people in there, they see they about to riot. At that point, bro, just let them riot. If they gonna throw hands and kill each other, just let it happen. You just come in when the aftermath over. Just come in then.
After it was all over, 6 inmates were charged for adding fuel to the fire. February 2020. Another riot sparks out at Sandoval County Detention Center in New Mexico. Things got pretty crazy when 9 prisoners refused to get back into their cells. Guards decided to step back, and the administration had to bring in a special task force. But prisoners still weren't willing to give up so easily. They blocked that door, put soapy water all over the place, and they would throw microwaves and other items at this task force. Now, the team had to use flashbangs to confuse the inmates, and eventually they did manage to capture all of them. The prisoners were later charged with unlawful assault on a jail and conspiracy to commit unlawful assault on a jail. January 12, 2021, a unique riot takes place at Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women in Hunterdon County, New Jersey. What made this one stand out? Well, it was actually the guards who orchestrated it, not the inmates. A lawsuit that followed claimed that the guards had planned or helped carried out the forced removal of detainees from their cells, even if they didn't comply with orders to handcuff themselves. This was in response to when the detainees allegedly splashed urine and feces at the guards. According to guidelines from the New Jersey Department of Corrections, detainees should only be forcibly removed if they refuse to be handcuffed and leave their cells voluntarily. After these planned extractions, one inmate ended up with a concussion after being forcefully pulled from her cell and struck around 30 times by 5 officers.
30
Another
times
victim who
crazy.
also didn't comply with orders suffered skull fractures and was left bloodied and beaten with boot marks all over her body. 15 officers were later indicted by a grand jury for their involvement in these forced cell extractions, with the intention of punishing, intimidating, or terrorizing the inmates. But these incidents were just the tip of the iceberg at this notorious prison. It's faced numerous scandals, including allegations of officers assaulting inmates and even allowing gambling up in here.
That jail off
July
the chain.
15th, 2017. A surveillance video from inside the Rio Arriba County Jail in Tierra Amarilla caught accused murderer Damon Herrera attacking several guards. At the time, Herrera was accused of committing 5 murders across northern New Mexico. It was believed that he killed his stepdad, brother, and mother before gunning down 2 strangers. From the video, it's evident that Herrera had a plan. While on an hour break outside his cell, Herrera asked a guard to check on his sink. As the guard went to inspect it, he closed the door behind him, trapping him inside. He then quickly grabs a flashlight hidden under a nearby desk and waits for another guard to pass by. As the guard runs through the hallway, Herrera strikes him with a heavy metal flashlight. A struggle ensued with the guard using a plastic chair to defend himself. Now a third guard's here and Herrera was finally subdued and placed into a restraining chair.
Man,
he was later convicted of 4 consecutive life sentences for the murders, as well as several charges related to assaulting the guards.
He doing 4 consecutive life sentences, bro. I'm telling you, I don't promote violence. I also don't work at a jail either, or a prison. But when you got an inmate like that, bro, that's attacking and dangerous, that's your chance to shine. That's your chance to shine. It's time to knuckle up. We knuckling up. It's not like all the pain and trauma you didn't put me through these last couple weeks, these last few months, this last few years, whatever, however long it's been, however long you've been giving me problems, this is my chance. You want to act out today? Oh, I'm already pissed off. The wife made me mad back at home. I got too many bills. I'm mad already. I'm telling you, I'm taking my anger. Sergeant tripping. I don't want to be here for 12 hours a day. I'm working OT. I'm tired. Bro, I'm taking my anger. I'm trying to break jaws. I'm trying to knock heads off shoulders. Like, that is a chance. That's a perfect chance. And he a little dude. Don't get me wrong. He a killer. Killed 4 or 5 people. He a killer. I don't want no smoke with you, brother. But today, the day you gonna act out, yeah. At that point, we just gotta duke it out. I'm fighting for my life.
September 15th, 2018. A familiar scene unfolds at Cook County Jail. A bus carrying a group of handcuffed inmates made its way to court into Chicago suburbs. Now this is all kind of routine, with detainees attending their hearings and returning to jail without any issues. However, there are times when things go south, especially when dangerous inmates are involved, like those who were supposed to be transported separately. One such inmate was Gavanti Surratt. He was locked up in August 2016 on a burglary charge. While on bail, he allegedly committed a series of armed robberies, leading to his return to jail. During his time in jail, he was reportedly involved in at least 15 fights. Now, despite his troubled history, Surratt was placed on a bus heading towards a hearing. During the trip, he managed to free himself and attacked another inmate using a steel lock and chain of the restraints as a weapon. In the following years, he was involved in 4 more fights, 2 of which occurred on buses. Seems like he didn't learn his lesson, or perhaps the authorities failed to learn theirs. February 15th, 2017, 19-year-old Antoine Jones was detained and charged with first-degree murder in the killing of Takia Holmes, a girl from Chicago who got shot in the head. Jones opened fire on 3 rival gang members in the neighborhood after a drug turf dispute, and sadly a stray bullet hit this poor innocent girl while she was riding in the van with her mom. In a surveillance video from the Cook County Sheriff's Department, Jones appears to be sleeping while he was handcuffed to a chair in the holding room before appearing in bond court. Then out of nowhere, another inmate comes up and repeatedly punches him. Interestingly, the inmate was detained on his own murder charge, but the murder of an innocent girl had clearly struck a nerve with him. The inmate was issued a disciplinary ticket. As for Jones, he was given 71 years in prison earlier this year.
71
As you've already seen in prison, it's not common for inmates to really team up to settle scores with each other. But sometimes, though, they have issues with corrections officers, and things can get pretty messy very quickly. This happened a couple of times down in Arizona. November 3rd, 2020, a few inmates took turns attacking a single officer. The assault went on for about 2 minutes before any backup showed up, with the officer managing to get out on his own. Then on June 21st, 2021, a corrections officer had to be airlifted to the hospital after after a brutal assault. Prison officials later say that both attacks were because of the same security issue, custody override, which basically means that security levels were lowered, putting them in less secure areas. But seriously, why would anybody put a super dangerous inmate in a less secure unit? Looks like a lot of prison officials need to think about that for a bit, because we got many more to go through on this list today.
Bro, I think, I guess it don't matter what I think. My opinion don't matter, but I think, honestly, dog, teachers and COs deserve a raise. One, the reason why teachers do, because they raising the youth. The teachers are literally raising the youth. They're raising the future of America, of Russia, of Canada, everywhere. Like, teachers, they all deserve raises. They do. And they got to put up with y'all little bad kids, dog. Y'all just send them to school to be babysitters because, you know, the parents, y'all ain't doing nothing for these kids. Y'all ain't teaching them no morals, no respect, no rules, no values, no nothing. They ain't got none of that. So they go to school and they do what they want. They get in a little bit of trouble at school and they don't know how to handle it. They lash out on teachers. Teachers just ask them, hey, sit down. And they go crazy. Or, hey, stop talking, stop interrupting my class. They go crazy. They go wild because they're not used to authority telling them what to do, because you parents out there have failed to do that. Y'all want to be friends with y'all kids so bad instead of instilling discipline in them. Weirdos. But outside of teachers being glorified babysitters, the COs, man, they put in a dangerous position, and it's usually just 1 to 3 officers on duty at a shift. You know, they in a pod by themselves. That's a dangerous job. They dealing with some of the most dangerous people in the world. Some of them doing it for $15 an hour. Really? Really? $15 an hour? Yeah. I wouldn't dare risk my life for that. $15 an hour? Throw me 60, then we talking. If I make 60 an hour, I'll go babysit some inmates. I'll put my life on the line a little bit. But that's it. You got to go higher. Like, teachers and COs, they deserve more, man.
Here we have Deputy Daniel Guzman from Washington County caught off guard when an inmate starts a fight with him. This lasts about 30 seconds, but for Guzman, those may have been the longest 30 seconds of his life. Late March 2019, Deputy Guzman had just started an overtime shift. The inmates were enjoying some free time, and everything seemed normal until Guzman noticed an inmate circling his desk in the middle of the pod. The inmate turned out to be Hayden Davis, who was in jail at that time for breaking into a Beaverton home. Guzman greeted Davis, but he didn't respond. Suddenly, Davis lunges at him out of nowhere. Guzman's training kicked in and he shoves him to create some distance. Now, Guzman could have jumped on Davis and handcuffed him. The thought of being on the ground with over 50 inmates, though, was terrifying. He didn't know who was there to help and who wasn't. Davis charges at Guzman again, and that's when the fight begins. Luckily, another inmate intervened, grabbing Davis and throwing him to the ground, allowing Guzman to regain control of the situation. Guzman would suffer minor injuries to his eye and knuckles. As for Davis, he was given over 6 years in prison for that fight and the original crime that landed him in jail.
Stupid. Just because you're having a bad day, you want to lash out on the officer. See, that's what I'm saying. That's dangerous. He in there by himself. He got to knuckle up by himself. His back against the wall because he don't know who gonna jump in or who gonna help. He don't know. Literally. So you literally, at that point, you got to fight and guard your back because you do not know what's about to happen next. You don't know who got your back. Thank God there's some good people in this world. Even though they locked up, they still some good people in there, man. That dude came up, he the only person that was gonna stop it. He came up behind and tackled Buddy. You know, it's still some humans, some decent humans left in this world. But it could have got ugly for that man. Just him in there by himself. You ain't see no other officers come in. You didn't see that. Wanna know why? Because he got a call that in. Some probably watching the cameras, they might even missed it. You never know. Like, it's dangerous, dog. I'm telling you, they deserve more money.
July 16th, 2019, Mitchell Lamb and Alex Benacomo, guards at the Southern New Mexico Correctional Facility, entered a pod housing 16 inmates. They intended to put the pod on lockdown due to a verbal altercation between an inmate and a control center officer. However, their plans were disrupted when 5 inmates rushed them into a hallway, where they were assaulted for a half a minute. During the attack, the inmates used the guards' flashlights and radios as a weapon to punch, kick, and beat down the guards. Lamb and Benacomo would walk out of here with non-life-threatening injuries, while 7 inmates were charged in connection with the incident, 2 of whom were charged with attempted murder. August 15th, 2017, we're still in New Mexico, where things get even crazier. 2 officers at the penitentiary of New Mexico were dealing with some seriously dangerous inmates when they were stabbed with shivs. The officers, just starting their shift, patted down inmates as they left their cells. 2 of the inmates, Lorenzo and Joe Martinez, decided to cause some trouble. Lorenzo distracted an officer while Joe snuck up behind him, grabbed his neck, and stabbed him in the back of the head multiple times. Another officer tried to intervene, but Lorenzo attacked him too. Thankfully, a 3rd officer stops this chaos by firing non-lethal rounds from a shotgun. The guards survived the brutal attack and eventually made a full recovery. The 2 inmates were charged and convicted of battery on a peace officer and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. They're now serving a lengthy prison sentence.
Not attempted murder?
December 5th, 2016. A shocking incident occurs at Cook County Jail in Chicago, Illinois. An inmate named Jimmy Smith was caught on camera punching a female guard in his cell. The attack happened when a guard caught Smith using a laptop to watch a talk show called My Back's Against the Wall. Smith, who was seen in jail for 7 years facing charges of attempted murder and sexual assault, didn't take kindly to the guard trying to take away his laptop. He reacted violently, hitting her in the face. Luckily, other male officers quickly intervened and Smith surrendered without further incident. And actually, the video on the laptop turned out to be Smith hosting a show with inappropriate pictures of himself inside the jail. Smith had been given the laptop to help with his defense for his court case, but instead he ended up with more charges. A charge of aggravated battery to a correctional officer, which would extend his sentence.
Stupid.
April 6th, 2017. The peace and quiet of North Mississippi got a rude awakening, thanks to a University of Mississippi business major from Brandon named Daniel Stewart Berry, who was accused of robbing a local store. During his trip to court, Berry completely lost it, headbutting a deputy in a fit of rage. The officer quickly takes control, and everyone is left wondering if Berry was under the influence of something, though the exact substance was unknown. Berry's outburst didn't do him any favors, as his bail was increased to $200,000. We don't even know if he could pay it or not. November 25th, 2017. A violent attack takes place at Rikers Island, involving Captain Gorey of the New York City Department of Correction. While doing rounds in the housing area with 2 other captains, Captain Gorey was suddenly attacked by an inmate who punched him in the face and knocked him to the floor. 2 other inmates then joined in on that assault. The inmate who started the attack was identified as Jason Reed, a known gang member. Gorey was left to defend himself after being separated from his colleagues, but managed to gain the upper hand until 2 other inmates joined in. Several other guards eventually brought the situation under control, and the captain was taken to the hospital. In response to the incident, the president of Correction Captains Association mentioned that the assaults on officers unfortunately happen too often at Rikers. However, it's not just the officers who are victims of these brutal attacks at Rikers. Sometimes, the inmates themselves get assaulted by none other than the correctional officers. 2015, The New Yorker gets their hands on surveillance footage from Rikers Island that kind of raises concern about the abuse and violence inmates face. The clip shows a guard coming to Browder's cell to take him to the shower, but instead of just escorting him, the guard ends up slamming Browder, who was already handcuffed, to the ground and holds him down. 2 more guards rushed over to join in. Browder ended up spending 3 years at Rikers. 2 of those were in solitary, all because he was accused of stealing a backpack in May 2010. He was finally released in June 2013 when charges against him were dropped.
Hey man, them people need a raise. Them people need a raise. I can honestly see why some officers come in and just go straight in on some inmates. I can see why. You giving them problems. You probably done jumped a few officers before. You dangerous. You just a problem. Some officers, like I said earlier, you're tired. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you don't feel like that BS. You come in, they start barking because they live there. They ain't got nothing else to do. That's what they do. You know, then you got this little mouthy inmate talking crazy, probably saying stuff about your wife, about your husband, whatever. Like, honestly, pissing you off. You might not be in the mood. And it could be vice versa. You might having a great day and you come say the wrong thing to the inmate and, you know, he tee off on you. So, I mean, I see both sides. I see both sides. But what I don't see is why it's not more officers in the unit. Pay them people more, man, and get more officers in the unit. Crazy. W video, though. W video. Y'all be smooth how y'all be smooth. Be cool how y'all be cool. To the next video, man. Peace.